creating store credit refund, you are ensuring yourself, or at least gives yourself a much higher probability for future engagement with this customer.
Welcome to Honest eCommerce, where we're dedicated to cutting through the BS and finding actionable advice for online store owners. I'm your host, Chase Clymer, and I believe running an online business does not have to be complicated or a guessing game. If you're struggling with scaling your sales, Electric.ai is here to help. To apply to work with us, visit electric.io/connect to learn more. Now let's get on with the show. All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Honest eCommerce. I am your host, Chase Clymer, and today I'm welcoming to the show Nadav from Rise.ai. Nadav, how are you doing today?
Doing great, Chase. So fun to be here. How are you, man?
Oh, man, I'm doing great. You know, doing the intro twice is always good. So
starting in the right foot.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'll let everyone know that mistakes are always made on this show. So Nadav is amazing. For those of you that don't know, Rise.ai used to be known as Gift Wizard. So that might let a few of you kind of understand the expertise that Nadav's going to bring to the table for today's show. But before we kind of get into that, you want to give just a quick background of kind of your career up until joining and becoming the VP of marketing over there at Rise.
So actually, not a very long career, but I'll run through it briefly. I was studying in the university in Jerusalem in Israel, and then a friend came back from India. He told me, "Listen, I have this awesome idea. We need to sell sustainable yoga mats and a lot of things that would replicate or would look like leather, but would be made out of cork. And I know this awesome vendor that we can start buying products from. So let's do it." So we started an online store on Shopify, and it went fine. And then I came to understanding some of the core issues that Shopify had. It was like 3 years ago, 2.5 years ago. So it was the app market was not as robust as it is today. And then another friend came with an idea to do some sort of automated chat, something in the chatbot world that would automate processes there. And I said it was really interesting. I felt like for us here in Israel, it has a lot of benefits, to sell directly to stores in opposed to customers, because consumers are in the US. It's quite far for us, and here the market's not that big. So I said, yeah, let's hop on this opportunity. I kept the store on a smaller light and started the thing. We operated the app for a bit over 1 year. It was really cool experience. It didn't went very well. We had some tech issues. We didn't know. I think the biggest issue that we had is we wasn't very customer centric in terms of product feedback. We really saw that we found some sort of big truths that's obviously never is the truth. And then after like a bit more than a year, I told my partner that I don't think the thing is going well, and I want to move forward to the next opportunity. Of course, in the ecosystem here in Israel, it's much smaller, so I know all the app developers. There are a lot actually, but everyone knows everyone. I knew Yair, which is our CEO, and when I saw that he was searching for VP of marketing, I thought it would be a great fit. I felt like I had the relevant experience. Fast forward a year and a half, still here.
Absolutely. So you dropped an amazing piece of advice in that quick intro, which is you realized why your app failed was because you weren't listening to your customers. So obviously a lot of our listeners are store owners or entrepreneurs kind of getting into it or growing. And that's super exciting. But I do know that we do have some developers. Like it's the audience is wild for this show, and I love it. But yeah, so there's a great piece of advice. Listen to your customers. Doesn't really matter what you're building. If you don't listen to your customers, you're probably going to end up building something they don't want or producing a product that doesn't have market fit. So that was some great advice hidden in your little intro there. So thanks for that.
Yeah, I have a lot more. More to come.
Awesome. So is Yotpo also from Israel?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So your guys' market isn't that small over there. You've got two power players from Israel in I guess this ecosystem.
We have more. There's Looks and there's Reconvert and also Videofy. There are a lot of really strong apps from Israel.
That's awesome. That is so cool. Well, hopefully, when the world's in a better place, we're partners with half of the people you just listed. So I gotta get a trip out there. But for the time being, we're all doing our work from our bedrooms. It seems like.
Yeah. Maybe if this podcast would be posted in like a year from now, it would be relevant.
Exactly. Yeah. So, anyways, you got my word though. I'll be coming to visit. So, all right, let's get into the world of gift cards and the world of store credit. And this is something that it is severely lacking on Shopify. There are other platforms out there that. I believe Magento, it might be built into Magento or very easy to accomplish, but with Shopify, it's definitely, it wasn't a feature that was really baked into the product. So obviously, back when they were called Gift Wizard, it was definitely a strong product to bring to the people that wanted it. So I guess explain a bit about how the product works, just to catch people up to speed, and then we can talk about how you can use that as a merchant to grow your business. Essentially, like how am I going to use store credits and gift cards to grow my business is going to be the highlight of this show. But let's talk about what the product does and what it solves.
Yeah. So I'll start from the beginning. Actually, when we started as Gift Wizard, the product was in a very different scope. It was a bit more about gifting, not even gift cards. But from the process of handling gift, we understood that if we can provide a really good gift card experience, it would kind of be the gifting experience that you need, because gift card has a lot of promise inside, a lot of benefits. It generates to sales. It gives the recipient more flexibility. So we turned from gifting company to a gift card company because we understood that this is what people want to give. But along the way, and that transition happened like two and a half years ago. But as we progressed and understood gift cards better, we understood that it provides a lot of value, and good merchants can get to 3%, 4% from their order cycle to be contained or to be gift card orders. But the promise of interacting and connecting with your customers with gift cards for a lot of on what is store credit can be a lot more valuable for brands. It can be incorporated in so many different ways. And this tool and this power of having your own, what the industry calls brand currency, something that you own and you can distribute and you can communicate with customers with, for reward, for refund, for compensations, for any of the basic communications that you'd like to have with customers. This is really where the power of gift card lies. So that's the transition, and that's how we really moved from a gifting solution to a really holistic brand currency solution. The gift card product and the gifting experience is still incorporated into it. People are using it. It's one of our most popular features. You can, when you are going to a Shopify site and you have the option to gift a gift card, there are like a lot of chances that this is our gift card.
Absolutely. This episode is brought to you by Klaviyo. Klaviyo knows modern e-commerce is moving fast. Between email, mobile, and web, it can be hard to keep up with consumers and personalize their experience with your brand. Think of Klaviyo as a central command center for all your digital marketing needs. With email marketing, dynamic website content, social retargeting, SMS automation, and more, you'll take back control of the customer experience and own your business growth. That's why it's trusted by over 30,000 brands like Casemate, Kapari, and Brooklinen. Ready to find out how Klaviyo can help your business grow? Visit klaviyo.com to schedule a demo. That's KLAVIYO.com. Just the gifting thing, especially right now, we've got a few projects on the horizon at the agency, and people want to add gifting in, especially in advance of the big holiday season in a couple months, Black Friday, Cyber Monday. Because that holiday season, people are, the majority of the time, they're not buying for themselves. They're buying for other people. And having the opportunity to buy gift cards and have them buy what they want, or buy a product for someone else and have it, gifted to them. That's a powerful feature to have on your store, but also it's a powerful angle for your marketing. Because then you're changing the copy and the direction and the purpose of what you're advertising at that point. It's no longer about, we want to sell you this thing. It's like, we want to help give you the power to make your friend's day better. There's all sorts of ways to spin that kind of whole marketing angle. So it's a super powerful feature for people that don't really have it involved. Is there industries that you see that are using gift card more than others out there? I personally feel like I see it a lot in like food and beverage. People are gifting a lot in there, but are there other industries that to where you see people are using these features a lot?
Yeah, so food and beverages definitely a lot. Very like it's really really popular on those areas. For us, actually, I guess whenever when we're diving into this data, for everyone, I think the biggest industry is the fashion and apparel.
Mm-hmm.
Where there are we have a lot of amazing examples and brands that are using it. And if I'm trying to find a trend for that, I don't know, that I really noticed for our product, is that in the last year, the fastest growing industry percentage wise on our end in gifting experiences is cosmetics. I think that COVID really accelerated that actually, because beauty and cosmetics became something that you're doing at home, and all those brands really got themselves a boost, and the self consumptions of it became much more popular. So I think that's for us today might be the fastest growing industry in the gift card world.
Yeah, no, we had a beauty client that was just exploding during the whole pandemic, and it was once people kind of felt a little bit safer and everything, they wanted to feel good about themselves, and obviously self-care. It was an amazing time of growth for all those types of brands.
Yeah, and I think it's from the things that that you can really easily get to very close level to what you're doing outside, inside, and when you give the people the information and the education about how to do it, I saw a lot of really cool YouTube videos and explanations from our merchants of really best practices of using their products. And when you give people the access to this information, and again, you give them a really a way to feel better with themselves and feel like they look good and smell good. It's really powerful. So I definitely agree.
Awesome. So I'm gonna pivot a bit now, and I've got a question for you. So what is, I guess this is a benefit that some people might not realize with having store credit, on their store, is like incorporating it within the returns and the refunds flow. So let's talk a bit about that and the advantages that you get by offering store credit as opposed to your standard, refunding it to the card that they used.
So first of all, and that's a disclaimer that I love to begin with. It's not it cannot be the only solution for refunds and returns. And because there are customers that didn't have a good experience, and they don't want to have any future engagement with your brand, and you need to make them go home happy and forget about it and move forward. So store credit is not the only way to incorporate a refund and return strategy, but when used correctly, it has a huge impact. Based on researches that we made and general researches that were made in the industry, using your brand currency is over 75% cheaper than using actual credit or actual money from your bank account, from your PayPal, from whatever. This is practically, it's cheap money. And when you're taking it and using it, the first thing that you do is you save yourself from every transaction. You save 75% of the transaction if you paid $100 on PayPal transaction, or if you paid $100 with store credit to this customer. So first of all, that's a really simple and intuitive underline to understand, and an obvious impact. So that's immediate. In terms of not only how you create a good experience like at this process, but also keeps it to the future, I would say, is the fact that once you are creating store credit refund, you are ensuring yourself, or at least gives yourself a much higher probability for future engagement with this customer. People, when you tell, listen, I know you haven't had a good experience, and actually, when I visited one of our brands, actually it was in Netherlands, they told me that they're not only giving store credit refunds, what they do is they add 10% to the refund value and giving it in store credit. And then when you get such experience that said, okay, someone here thought about me, he gave me additional value. He really believes in his product because he wants me to buy again. And now me as a customer, maybe I want to use it today. Maybe I'll send it. Maybe I'll gift it to someone. But the probability for me to remain a customer is much, much higher. And you can really use this tool in order to really increase how your brand looks to your customers, even when they had bad or complex experience, because eventually we're talking here about returns. Probably something didn't went well.
Mm-hmm. Let's be honest today, all of your customers are going to have questions. And what are you doing to manage all those questions? Do you have a help desk for your business? One of our sponsors of today's episode is Gorgias, and Gorgias is the #1 rated help desk for e-commerce. It integrates seamlessly with Shopify. We have installed it on a bunch of stores. It's also used by brands like Movement and Rothy's. And what it does is it takes all of your customer insights and information, brings it into one amazing dashboard so you can solve their problem as quickly as possible. If you want to give Gorgias a try, visit gorgias.link/honest. That's GORGIAS.link/HONEST to get your second month free. Yeah, that's powerful. The sending a refund, not a refund, but giving the store credit and tacking on additional value to that store credit. And I'm sure a lot of people are listening here. It's like, I can't give away money, but I'm going to use this time to break down what actually is happening in that kind of whole thing there. It's essentially a reverse coupon, maybe, or the way to consider it is you're not really giving away anything. This store credit, this currency, this brand currency that you're talking about that you own, is a currency that you've invented. So now the only thing that's really going against it is whatever the margin is on your product, which should be way lower than what you're selling it for. Like, so you're only ever going to be out kind of the value of your cost of goods. So the rest of this kind of this store credit allows you to get really creative with marketing. It allows you to really make experiences that much better for your customers. It allows you to turn a bad experience into a good experience. It's all sorts of stuff.
And just to point out, it's much better than a coupon in the fact that it's a payment method.
Yep.
So it would cover shipping, it would cover taxes. You can buy product, you can go through a full cycle of purchase without even inserting your credit card. So it is really a replacement for not only for your end. It is some sort of like an alternative to money. Also for customers, it's a real alternative for money because it can pay for their entire purchase.
Yeah, no, and that's the perfect way to point it out. Is it's so much different than a coupon code. It's so much different than adding on 10% to their just 10% off. Whatever. It is way more powerful in the just perceived value of it. It is, your customers are going to perceive it like cash, but it is not costing you really any money at the time. And it's, depending on how far down the rabbit hole you want to get with lifetime value, you can spend money to acquire people, because over the lifetime of your business, you're going to make it back.
Yeah.
If you're selling a product that people actually want.
Yeah. We like challenges, and I think that, when, if you run your own business, or if you're a customer support representative and you really made an angry customer come back with this thing, I think it's an amazing accomplishment for brands, something that you can really cherish and can make you happy and make them happy. So I think that, having said that it's not one solution fits all. Definitely, it needs to be incorporated in the right circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely an option it's a no-brainer. It's a must-have as part of the refunds and return strategy, at least in my perspective.
Awesome. So what are some of the other benefits with using store credit for rewards and customer engagement?
So in general, I think that today people want to have straightforward two part of experience. They wanted to have a great experience, and they wanted to be very transparent, very straightforward, very honest experience. Today, I think in the world of, let's call it, legacy loyalty programs or engagement programs, and speaking about rewards, referrals, all those things, the fact that that most of them are being done with a lot of time with points, or with some sort of manipulations and things that are not identical between different stores, and you can really play with it. And I got 500 points now. I don't know how much is it the discount code? Is it the coupon code? What am I getting? What am I getting for it? It might be confusing. And even more than that, I think that there is some sort of, because if it's something that I don't understand within two seconds, I will lose my interest of it. Because if I don't know how to make it work, so I'll skip and move forward. And I think the biggest advantage with credit, like besides the fact that, market metrics are showing that if you get on points, you get between 10 to 12% redemption rates across industries. And with credit, you get between 22 to 24, which is almost double. And I think the main reason for it is that it is super straightforward. It is something that it's identical across all sites. I know exactly what I'm getting. I know exactly how much I'm far away from buying a product. If I have credit, so if I get $10, I know, and I want to buy a $50 product, then I know that I'm gonna need to pay $40, which is something that you can just not promise with other type of promotions. And I think that the fact that this is so intuitive for customers to understand gives us great leverage in building good customer experience, but mainly helps our merchants build good relationships with their best customers, because they're offering them something that it's simple to use and it's straightforward, and that's what people are expecting today.
Oh, absolutely. So you're saying, if I heard that right, that if you're using store credit as part of your loyalty program, as opposed to using a more traditional points style approach, that you're almost twice as likely to have your customers redeem it?
Yeah, that's correct. And again, it differentiates between industries, but I don't know, like when you see the biggest brand in the world, like let's say Sephora, that moved their end of year promotions from discounts to credit. And as you see the shift of how brands are trading it, I think that's definitely a trend that is here to stay. And again, I think that something very important here as well would be to put the redemption into the customer experience in a very seamless and simple to use. And I think that's not only us, but all rewards providers are really doubling down on it. I think that when you're using credit, you have a simpler way to do it, because again, in the points world, there's like 2 points of redemption. There's the redemption of the points to a promotion and the promotion to the checkout. And with credit, it's only one process of redemption. You're only redeeming it on checkout.
Absolutely. That's great right there. Want to get each new episode of Honest eCommerce sent straight to your phone? Join our VIP texting list for updates on new episodes and exclusive deals from our partners. Text Honest VIP, that's HONEST VIP, to 72599 to join. By the way, we're powering our text messages with Postscript, the #1 text message marketing app for Shopify stores. Check out the show notes for a link to install Postscript for free today. Now, let's just kind of quickly chat here about, there's store credit and then there's gift cards, and there's some pros and some cons to it. Maybe that's not the right approach of the way to describe it, but let's talk about the differences between the two. So I'll hand it back over to you.
So yeah, there are a lot of ways actually to interact with this. I'll explain a bit about our approach. It can be done differently, but I think we find some good logic that helps us understand it internally and then explain it to our merchants and brands. So I'll start with gift card because it's simpler. Gift cards basically are some sort of IOU. It's something that you are buying from a store. You're paying money for it, and then you get it for yourself. or as a gift. And you have a lot of like, there's the card act and there's a lot of rules around it. For example, in New York, it needs to be expired after 5 years, and you need to get the money back to this customer's credit card if no one used it. In California, it must never be expired. And there are different rules in different states to it, but gift card has a lot of regulation because of all the consumer empowerment things that we see along all over the world today. And that's gift card. It's like a private case of brand currency where customers are actually actively buying it from the store. Store credits, although it would appear maybe on back ends identically, it's the same thing. It's a code that contains money to use. It's very different in the matter of how it's regulated. Store credit is something that you are, as a brand, issuing to a customer. It's not something that's being bought. It's something that you are issuing from your goodwill to someone. So, for example, if you're doing a reward, so you can have an option to really do some sort of manipulations around it. I can do that. This reward will be activated 2 weeks after you purchase, and it would expire 90 days later. And then you're creating something much more flexible. It's not like you don't have all the gift card regulations that you need to apply to. Here, there's something that you can really play with and make it look in the way that fits you and fits your business needs. And it applies the same for any sort of interaction between brand and a customer. So that's the main differentiate that we do here. Gift card are something that you buy from the store, and store credit is something that you, as a store, are issuing to a customer.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. And I didn't know about the regulations in the world. That stuff's wild, man.
Actually, prior to this call, I had a call with some guy from the Netherlands, and he said to me that I haven't really checked it out, but he was trustworthy. He said that in Netherlands, they're going to restrict buying gift cards from over 50 euros because it involves in a lot of laundry money and stuff like that. So there are a lot of different approaches and different places in the world that take this thing completely different in a different way.
Oh, absolutely. Now, if I'm like a merchant and I am interested in learning more about gift cards and store credit, how do I get a hold of you? How do I learn more about Rise?
So for us, there's we have, first of all, I think the best way to do is go to start from our YouTube channel. We have all those explanations that I made for gift cards versus store credit. What are the differences? How you can start? How you can set up your gift card program? How you can set up your rewards program? And moving forward. So there are a lot of taped information there. Of course, there's our website that breaks down really well of all of our different solutions in the world. We have really to all those issues that I've described, to all those things, we have really advanced solutions. So it really is worth reading. And also we are as part of the lessons that were learned in my last entrepreneurship journey, there is a lot of we are really eager to speak with customers. So if you want, it's really easy. Just go to our site, hit request a demo, and we're taking calls from everyone because we really are obsessed with merchants' feedback.
Awesome. Nadav, thank you so much for coming on the podcast today.
Thank you, Chase. It's been real fun.
Awesome. I cannot thank our guests enough for coming on the show and sharing their journey and knowledge with us today. We've got a lot to think about and potentially add into our businesses. Links and more information will be available in the show notes as well. If anything in this podcast resonated with you and your business, feel free to reach out and learn more at electriceye.io/connect. Also, make sure you subscribe and leave an amazing review. Thank you.